I know I just posted a video a few hours ago, but we have so much exciting news to talk about in today's video, including Azure getting a redesign, news about Phosphorus, a new work-in-progress UI design that the devs showed to us, the John Forsaken skin for Shedletsky getting a brand new re-render, news about the Aberrant skin for John Doe, and so many more. There are a lot of things to talk about today, and I guarantee that you guys would want to stick around for this one. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. First of all, let's talk about the Azure redesign. So recently, this image of Azure was leaked on Twitter, and it basically shows the new version of Azure after the redesign. I guess it makes a lot of sense that the devs decided to do a redesign for Azure, knowing that they did a redesign for 2Time, and I feel like this design is a pretty good upgrade from the older design that we had. If we compare the old Azure design and the new Azure design, we can clearly see how the design has changed, and that change is for the better too. The devs added more texture, more details, and just generally polished the design by a lot. I'm pretty glad that the devs actually did an Azure redesign, and I'm happy that the devs delivered as well and gave us a really nice redesign. A lot of people are with me on this one too, since the post from which this image was leaked had a ton of positive comments about the new design. That aside, I'd like to point out one thing from this new redesign. If we take a look at the logo, you can see that the devs did a bit of a makeover to it, where it is now no longer the Spawnism logo that was previously engraved on the old Azure design, but rather, whatever this is, it looks like an upgraded version of the Spawn logo, since we can see that the Spawn logo is still there, but there are circles around it as well as this arrow thing in the middle. Now, we don't know why the logo was changed, but I'm assuming that it probably has something to do with the Spawnism drama, or perhaps it has something to do with the lore for Azure, who knows? Speaking of the new logo for Azure, there's something pretty crazy associated with this new logo. This is completely unexpected, but if we take a look at the logo on Phosphorus, particularly the one on his fedora, we can see that it's the exact same logo that we just talked about in Azure's new redesign. Someone noticed this on Twitter recently, and since they share the same logo, this might indicate that Azure and Phosphorus could be related in some sort. They might be related lore-wise and have some associations together in their lore. This can be a pretty reasonable theory, as the same thing appears with 2Time and Azure, where they share the same symbol, which is the spawn symbol, and therefore are in the same lore with one another, or interconnected in lores at least. Because of this, while the fact that they share the same symbol might not mean anything in the game, it could mean that they can be interconnected in an unrevealed lore, and if this were the case, then it would make those who love the Forsaken lore very excited. As of right now, it's not confirmed as to what this might mean, but I'd like to hear your thoughts or theories on this, as well as your thoughts on the new Azure redesign in the comment sections down below. That said though, I hope the Azure redesign and whatever progress they have for Azure are going well, and that they will be released very soon, hopefully becoming the next killer after Guest 666. Moving on, let's talk about the work-in-progress UI that the devs sent. So recently, the devs leaked this image in Discord, basically showing the new planned UI for when we view other people's and our own profiles in the game. This new UI will be a part of the UI overhaul that the devs have been talking about, and the devs leaked this in order to get some feedback from the community. In the image, we can see the plan as to what goes where for this new UI, and we can also see that they made this UI a lot bigger than it was previously, where it now fits a greater portion of the screen. Based on this image, we can see that the new UI allows players to see what device this user is playing on, the renders of the skin that they're using, and so on. Ever since the devs leaked this in Discord for the sake of feedback, the community seemed to love the concept so much, so the devs might use this design as the new UI for profiles, or at least something similar with a few tweaks. But of course, this is not 100% confirmed, and the final design is subject to changes. That said though, here is how the new UI will sort of look like if there were to be stuff filled in on it. It looks pretty promising, and I do prefer this new UI than the current one we have in the game. Now, while this UI is cool and all, we can't ignore the fact that the devs indirectly leaked the brand new render for the John Forsaken Shedletsky skin in the image that's shown on screen. So right next to 007N7's Milestone 3 skin, we can see that there seems to be a new render for the John Forsaken skin that was leaked. The new render looks amazing and is certainly better than the current render that we have in the game for this skin. It's nothing too crazy, but I guess it's good to know that the devs are actively doing re-renders to skins that clearly need them. Hopefully, they'll do re-renders to other skins as well in the future, especially for those who have some pretty old or boring renders. Since we were talking about renders previously, it's also important for me to mention that the devs will be doing a lot more polls in the future for the upcoming UI overhaul in order to get the community's feedback, so that people will be pleased when the UI overhaul gets released. So, if you guys are willing to help out and vote on these polls, then I do recommend you to keep an eye out for it. They might even do indirect leaks or show progress on the UI overhaul as well. On the topic of polls, the devs also recently made a poll where they asked the community if we would be fine with the devs updating the price ranges for all skins in order for it to be more accurate and represent their quality better. Unsurprisingly, a majority of people said yes to this, and since it's such a high result, there's a good chance that the devs would be implementing this change in the future. I guess it's a pretty reasonable decision to do a skin price overhaul, as the devs themselves did acknowledge how some skins are either priced too low or too high for the quality put into them. In the poll, they also mentioned in a follow-up message that if they were to do this, they're unsure if they'd be able to give refunds. However, they will do an early notice to let us know if this is happening, so we can buy skins in advance that are cheaper than what they will become after they implement this change, and I find this to be a pretty fair compensation. They also talked about being able to categorize skins if this skin price overhaul were to happen, and I guess that's a cool little feature that they can do. Now, do keep in mind that none of this is guaranteed to be happening since nothing is confirmed, and we are still waiting for more news on this topic. Moving on, let's talk about the Aberrant skin for John Doe. I'm pretty sure everyone already knows about this skin, as I've covered it many times in my channel, so I'll spare me some time from explaining to you what this skin is. But basically, Alex just said on Twitter that the upgrade for the Aberrant skin that he talked about a few weeks ago is looking amazing so far. This is amazing news, as it looks like they will be giving some pretty promising surprises for this skin when it's released. This also gets better since we know that the Aberrant skin will most likely be the high-quality skin that Hitoko talked about in a poll he made months ago, so hopefully the devs will deliver with this Aberrant skin. Apart from this, Alex was also asking a few people online to contribute on voice acting. The voice acting is said to be for the Aberrant skin, and while there's only a limited spot, I find it really cool that he's including the community on a skin, especially a really good skin too. Alex said that the end result will sound something like this video that he attached here, so if you guys want to get a sense of how it'll sound, then I've put a link in the description for you to check out. Sadly, I can't play the sound here in case of copyright violations, so I'm sorry in advance for this. Anyways, the fact that Alex is asking for voice acting for the Aberrant skin makes me very excited as to what's coming. The Aberrant skin might have a really unique voice line, or maybe a really unique sound effect or theme for the skin. All in all, this is making me very excited for the Aberrant skin, and if you guys are as excited for this as I am, then I highly suggest you guys to keep an eye out for further leaks or news on this skin, either from Discord or from Forsaken News YouTubers like myself. Finally, to end the video, there's a bit of news that the official Forsaken Placeholder Ambience, which is basically the name of the song that's played on every map without a theme, has been released and uploaded onto YouTube. If you guys are interested in listening to it on YouTube or during your free time when you're not playing Forsaken, then just click one of the links in the description and it should redirect you to it. Anyways, that is all for the video. If you enjoyed it so far, please do give it a like and subscribe for more content like this one. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.